In this video, we'll show you how to replace the camshaft sensor on your Subaru Baja. This is located in the engine bay and on the front of the engine. Let's get started. We can loosen up the 10mm for the negative terminal. We'll set that down. That way it can't make contact. And pull the positive terminal off. Commonly, you'd have a 10mm nut holding down your J-hooks. For our case, we have some wing nuts. We can just go ahead and loosen those. It can help to pick up on the bracket while you loosen these. That way the J-hooks stay in their holes and hold them still. Once you have enough slack, you can pop the J-hooks from out of the chassis. And we can remove our bracket. And we can remove the battery. Here we have the electrical connector. On the back side we have a tab. You can press in on that. It helps to push in on the connector just a little bit while you do that. We can pop that out. You want to always check for any terminal damage or corrosion. That looks good. Now we have two 10mm bolts, one on the back side. Once we have that one out, we can turn the cam sensor. Now you'll notice that I can't actually pull this all the way out right now. We need to remove this other 10mm bolt. If you can't remove the bracket and sensor together, once you've removed the bolts, you can go ahead and use a punch and a hammer. I'm going to use a small pry bar, being very careful between the engine and the sensor bracket. We can start to pry out on this. You're going to want to wiggle it back and forth. There's a small dowel behind this holding the bracket on. It may be a little bit rusty. You'll need to work it off. Before installing our new sensor, I want to clean up this dowel so that it goes on a little easier. To do that, I'm going to use a little bit of brake parts cleaner on a rag, and then I'll get in there with a brush. We'll go ahead and remove the old cam sensor, and I'm going to clean this up before installing the new one. And pull the small foam piece off the back if that came off the timing cover. I'll just use some brake parts cleaner. And go ahead and wipe that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a bore brush and clean up both of these holes. Now we can go ahead and get the cam sensor in. And we can get the foam pad back on. Now that's ready to go back in the car. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone paste on this dowel. And as we get the sensor and its bracket in place, you want to start by getting the sensor into the back of the timing cover. We can get the camshaft and its bracket into the timing cover. You may need to flex the timing cover just a little bit to get this in and make sure it's seated on the dowel. We can get both of our 10mm bolts in. We'll line up the electrical connector, press down, and make sure it's fully locked in. I'm going to make sure the battery is centered in its tray. We'll get the positive terminal on first. And we can snug down the 10mm. And make sure the boot is set over the terminal. We'll get the negative terminal in place. And we'll get that snug down as well. We can get our battery tie down lined up and centered on the battery. If you pick up on the battery bracket as you tighten down on the J-hooks, that'll help keep the J-hooks in place on the chassis. And that's how to install the camshaft on your Subaru Baja. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.